Why did humans come from the Stone Age to today's prosperity? Some people must have thought about making clothes and they made it. Some people thought about houses and they built it. People thought about knowledge and they wrote books. People generated ideas, they made movements, they created technologies, electronics, gadgets, furniture. They created everything which man would need or he may not need. When we look at these things, we marvel at their achievements, but we ignore the fact that each of these individuals persisted. When a child starts walking, we forget that he persisted in crawling. When an athlete gets a gold medal, we forget that he persisted in practice. When an actor delivers clapping dialogues, we forget that he persisted in acting. If you want to do great things, you have to persist. Information, knowledge, and skills are available to everyone. Persistence is what makes the difference. Do not consider persistence as an ordinary virtue. It takes a different level of thinking to consider failure as learning. It takes a different level of understanding to work on things for years. The exceptional thing about people who persist is they are not afraid of external conditions. In fact, they can shape their conditions. They don't rely on external validation. Their confidence comes from within. Persistent people are not insecure and they are not wavered by a single puff of air. Persistent people do not need motivation. In fact, motivation needs their names to persist. Persistent people are not discouraged when they fail, which is why they are persistent. The persistence, which I want to call a power, it is not gifted, it has to be developed by you. Our job is to recognize this power and utilize it for doing great things. First, having an understanding that great things come with greater effort. When we want to work on something big, we see a huge mountain to climb. We see hundreds of things are coming between you and your dreams. False beliefs, bad habits, limited knowledge, and inability to persist. When we start our journey, the most important thing we lack is guidance. You turn to a YouTuber, you watch all of his videos just to understand that the information is not related to you. When any person suggests you something, he is not aware about you, your upbringing, and your exact situation. What he is sharing makes you feel good for a moment, but it doesn't guide you. This is where the role of understanding comes in. If you want to do something big, which comes with bigger changes in your personality. Swami Vivekananda has said, don't say that you can't change your personality. Personality is a mere collection of habits. If you are changing habits, you are changing your personality. Working on something big doesn't require you to change one habit. It requires you to have knowledge about changes you have to make. Otherwise, you may say that I just need to change one habit and I can change it. Then what is there to persist? But knowing what you have to change is a different thing. Tell me a single person who understands your personality and knows what you have to change. Our outside world will guide you unless you know yourself inside. Knowledge of the self and the knowledge of the goal which you are pursuing is important. Both takes years of study and work, which will include asking your parents about yourself, asking your relatives, teachers, which will include studying people who have achieved big, which will include reading books, learning new things, and stopping harmful behavior. The greater the thing you want to achieve, greater will be effort and the greater will be your achievement. Second point, how to awaken the power of persistence. Study, learning, and work. These three are golden ways to achieve big in your lives. Whatever you want to achieve, you have to read books and study people who are masters in that particular field. Wherever you see a person getting transformed, see if he is reading. Transformation is directly linked to reading. Let's say you want to be a public speaker and it requires you to study public speaking as a subject where you read books on communication, and when you read 50 books on communication, you will see a few common points suggested by all authors. Let's say everyone has talked about power of voice in public speaking. Then you get to know that voice is something which you have to develop. Then you see yourself and start to understand your voice. Once you start to observe how you're using your voice, you will find areas where you need improvements. Then second stage comes learning. Once you find areas of improvement, you have to learn how you can make these improvements. For learning, you will read books and complete courses on voice development. Let's say you have a habit of speaking from the throat, not from the mouth. When you speak from the throat, you utilize more energy and hence speaking from the mouth is important for booming voice. You have understood this fact Now, what you will do, you will read a few books and lectures on speaking from the mouth. Then, in those books and lectures, you will find ways and practices to speak from the mouth, which might include some voice exercises, some loud reading practices, etc. And by practicing and implementing ways which we have studied in books, you will make change. And here I'm talking about one improvement. The more you study, the more you will find areas of improvement and resources to improve and learn. The last comes work. If you want to be a public speaker, how would you work for it? Study and learning will only help if you are moving towards your goals. So how will you work towards your goals? Includes finding opportunities for speaking publicly, making phone calls, visiting programs, conferences, networking with people, and speaking to the public. Once you start working as a public speaker, the process is similar to studying, learning, and work. This is the royal road to persistence. This is the power of persistence. With this power of persistence, you can achieve an unshakable position in the market. Because here, you are constantly working on yourself and your goals. Here, you are awakening a power of persistence. Thank you for watching and subscribe to this channel for becoming a leader in your life.